Let's now go to where? Line number 4 and say hello to the Liberal MHA serving the folks in St. Barb, Jim Bennett. Hello, Jim, you're on the air.
Hi, Paddy. How you doing?
Top shelf today, sir. You?
Oh, pretty good.
Good man.
27 degrees and sunny in Deer Lake. How could it be any other way?
Boys, oh boys, I don't know what it's like out. It looks kind of grey to me out on the camera searching up and down Kenmount Road, but whatever.
I hope the rain holds off. I'm coming in for the regatta. It's the first time I've ever seen it, so I hope you guys give me a good show and a good day.
Wait, you've never been to the regatta?
I've never been to the regatta.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. You're gonna love it. First off, you gotta eat your way around Lakeside, which is always a problem, though. Right? Anyway.
I probably have to sew up my lips or something. Probably put on 100 pounds tomorrow.
Well, that's okay. You can put up with it. Listen, what's on your mind today, Jim?
Well, I was listening to Minister Kennedy talk about the Muskrat, and I hope that listeners will pick each argument as it comes up and basically deconstruct and pick apart that argument. And the one that really intrigues me is the fact that we're going to be able to bypass Quebec. Now, that sounds like a wonderful thing. I think we'd all give a great big cheer if we could bypass Quebec. But then you have to look at what are we bypassing Quebec with? The Muskrat Falls is 824 megawatts. And the Upper Churchill is over 5,000, so it's only 1/6 the size of the Upper Churchill anyway. Then you've got to come down to the line that we're going to use to run across to Nova Scotia. That line is 500 megs, and Nova Scotia is going to have 170 megs of that. So we're going to have 330 megawatts that we can bypass Quebec with, and then we got to find a market for it. So it seems like a really good emotional market to be able to beat Quebec at their own game, and I agree with that 1,000%. But are we just cutting off our noses to spite our faces here?
Well, I guess that argument or that discussion can only be had when and if we decide or we finish the debate of whether or not we need the power, and then I think that becomes an applicable question, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that for most people, the best way to understand Muskrat Falls is one issue and one point at a time. And I think that it's something that if the whole big package is dumped on people, it's a bit overwhelming. But if you pick apart each piece at a time, if you look at the argument that the minister put forth about using for industrial users in Labrador, but industrial users to develop mine sites, that would be absolutely fabulous for us. However, industrial users expect an industrial rate. Sure. And that doesn't mean lower. That doesn't mean higher than the commercial or residential rate. It means lower. So are we going to produce this at the dam, at the powerhouse up there, for 14 or 15 cents, assuming they can get it done on time and on budget? And are we going to sell it then for 3 or 4 cents and lose a dime a kilowatt?
Well, you know, that's part of the equation that we don't even know yet, right? And that's where the government has got themselves in a real spot here, is that those are legitimate questions and we can't get any answers. So those are the types of things that are same with the Nova Scotia subsidized rate that people quote. We don't even know if they're going to pay in Nova Scotia yet. And I'm not so sure how applicable all those arguments are to the development of a hydro asset. I'm just not that sure because there's no numbers. It's all just conjecture at this point. Is that fair, comment?
I think that's absolutely fair, and I think it's the position of the official opposition. What we've been saying is that we're not going to say we're for it or we're against it. We're here. We're going to ask the questions, and you prove to us and prove to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador that this is a reasonable deal, that we need it, that we can afford it, that it's the right way to go. And if you can convince us, by all means, let's do it in a debate and convince us. The trouble is that every time the government presents an argument and the argument falls apart, then they go to another one. And what I see is now they're trying to compare alternatives. Shouldn't you have compared the alternatives before you put the deal together? We're putting the deal together. It's not sanctioned by the House. To me, that almost seems like contempt for the House of Assembly, that the debate is only going to be a sham, it's going to be a formality. Why are you going to have a debate if you're already cutting lines up there? Why are you going to have a debate if you've already budgeted $660 million from Nalcor this year and generate a huge deficit for us that the people are going to be asked to pay?
But now, your leader in a news release today, Jim, Dwight Ball, says that it's a bad deal for Newfoundland and Labrador. That must mean that the Liberal Party is against Muskrat Falls, doesn't it?
We haven't found any reason to support Muskrat Falls, and yes, I'm familiar with the release. He says it's a bad deal. The deal that he sees put together is a bad deal. The deal with Nova Scotia. I don't know if something in it can be salvaged. The big concern that I have is that the government is going to shove it down our throats anyway and put it through, and then we should win the government in 3 years' time from now, and we're the ones who are stuck with it halfway through, and we get all the heartache and all the grief. The Treasury is empty because they were spending like sailors on leave, and we got Muskrat Falls around our necks.
It's going to be a real hurdle for everyone to wrap their mind around. People who deal with it all the time, talk about it all the time, have taken advantage of dealing with Ed Martin and the folks to get some information. Maybe some people have a certain understanding, more so than others, but it's more complicated than it should be. It's more complex than it needed to be. It's turned into very much a political game as opposed to a business deal. So it is, it's a real long road for the government to get some public support that merits this project going forward. Jim, I appreciate your time. When we get some real numbers, call again. We'll hash around.
Oh, for sure, and I hope that your listeners will pick each point the government raises. Don't take the big argument. Don't take the broad picture. Take each. Do we really need it? How much is it going to cost? Can it be on time and on budget? What's this deal about bypassing Quebec? Don't get caught up in the emotional issues, sticking it to Quebec, which I'd be the first one in line if we could do that and get back some of what was rightfully ours. But you shouldn't cut off your nose to spite your face. Let's be logical about this and do what's best for us. Never mind Quebec.
Appreciate your time today, Jim.
All right. Thank you very much.
All the best. Bye-bye.